What's going on, everybody? It's your boy back with another reaction video, and I will be reacting to true stories with video footage. I believe this is from Mr. Nightmare. But anyway, I will put a link in the description down below so you can go check out his channel yourself. He has some really good horror narrations on there. If you've never heard of him before, been around a long time, you should go check him out. Pretty good channel. Anyway, let's get into this. Alright, here we go.
It was January of 2016. My buddies and I live right next to a nature preserve and used to love to explore it. It was a weekend and we were looking for something to do, and being mischievous, we decided to go explore the storm drain that supplied water to the creek in the nature preserve. It had a barred barricade blocking entry into it, so we decided we'd throw some rocks in to see if the rocks made contact at any point so we could figure out the depth. However, we received something much more in return. After throwing a rock against the wall in the storm drain, a couple seconds passed, and we heard a terrifying thump or bang in return.
What the hell?
Dusk was approaching, so we called it a day and watched back over the video we recorded of it. The next weekend, I gathered a few more buddies, and we decided we would unbolt the barricade to the drain and go inside. I got the barricade to fall down.
So the next weekend, me and a few buddies of mine
went in
decided to
about
go
20
and be
feet
idiots.
until it hit a dead end. However, there was a second branch of the drain to our left that we'd have to take a step up to get into.
I think I've seen this
Proceeded in
before.
one by one, all 5 of us. At first, it was nothing but spider webs and mud. We traveled about 500 to 1,000 feet into the drain as it kept getting skinnier, and we had to duck to proceed. We were all frozen in our tracks as we heard the same exact thump we heard the weekend before. A scary and hard to describe sound. We had no signal and were beyond terrified at that point because we were all right next to each other and the noise had come from much further away. At this point, my friend decided to start recording in case anything else happened. We made it out of the drain safely without anything else happening. The scariest and most chilling part of this whole story was when I reviewed the video and saw a slight outline of a head at one of the turns of the drain. This couldn't possibly have been one of us because we had all been together. I took a screenshot of it.
It looked like
his
as far as head is square.
Well, I was horrified. There in the frame was a demon-shaped looking head with glowing eyes and what appeared to be pointy ears. To this day, we have never gone back into that nature preserve, let alone the storm drain.
Shouldn't have went there the first time.
It all started when a group of friends and I decided to start exploring abandoned warehouses due to the stories and myths surrounding them in our hometown, Laredo, Texas. The story surrounding the area of warehouses was that the buildings were haunted due to immigrant workers being worked and mistreated to death. The local news covered the death of many of the workers. Many of the deaths were also ignored by the authorities due to the illegal status of the workers. In the warehouse that we visited, the company was in charge of the maintenance of the railroad tracks as well as the disposing of hazardous material. In the video I recorded, the barrels filled with chemical wastes are seen spilled open. The warehouses are located in a part of town where there's nothing really around except for train tracks. The predominantly Hispanic culture of my city gave rise to the stories about railroad workers that had lost their lives in the area. We decided to explore the warehouse during the day and then during the night. On our daytime exploration, we found remains of what seemed to be remnants of satanic rituals because we found a chicken's foot and pentagrams drawn in permanent marker. We figured that was the work of local groups trying to communicate with the damned souls of the workers. We also spotted a makeshift couch or bed where the workers would sleep. The night we visited, we had the feeling we were being watched. We were actually also being followed and attacked by crows inside the building.
Oh no, man. ¿Qué son?
It was a puta madre.
While we were exploring that night, on several occasions, we spotted shadows and heard noises throughout the area. As we delved deeper, we got the feeling that someone or something didn't want us in the warehouse. A creepy laugh can be heard in the video footage I captured, and that was our cue to get the hell out.
Nada. I don't think there's no power. Oh my god. Did you hear that? Yeah.
That was a laugh?
Let's just get out of here.
Things only got weirder though, as the satanic drawings and the chicken foot were gone the next time we passed that spot.
That really sounded like a laugh.
Only earlier that day. I'm completely convinced that someone or something was stalking us in that warehouse that night. I believe the lost souls of the workers, or a satanic group of people that frequented the place, were there that night with us, watching. As we walked out of the warehouse, we noticed that the crows were very on edge and tried to attack us, like I mentioned earlier. The events that happened
So
that
it
night
must
still
be
sometimes
Satan.
keep me up at night.
Satan is again. The crows are Satan's helpers.
I'm a freshman at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Some friends of mine came home from a hockey party after their game and asked me to come hang at their dorm. They brought some girls to the party that they knew from high school and happened to be in the city. They came back to the dorm to hang as well. One of the girls that came in was super friendly but very drunk. I didn't see her drink anything in the dorm.
That's why she was super
I
friendly.
left with my girlfriend at about 2 a.m. At around 3, I heard sirens and could see lights outside of my window. I figured it was just another kid that came home with alcohol poisoning. Then I heard the most gut-wrenching scream of my life. I walked out of my room and saw my friends from the dorm
I was
just
prepared
left
to
running
hear
down the
for
hall
him to put a
wanting my help.
scream in there.
I started running down the hall following them and saw blood on the floor and thought for sure someone had been stabbed. Then I saw 3 police officers and a paramedic team strapping the friendly girl down to a stretcher while she was screaming and thrashing. I went to ask my friends what happened and they looked exhausted. They said her eyes rolled back into her head. She started growling and bleeding heavily from both nostrils. She attacked some of our friends, yanking their hair and biting them like an animal. This girl fought off 3 6-foot-tall, fairly muscular guys by herself.
Damn,
Keep
sound like
in
she
mind,
on
this girl
bath
was probably
salts.
5'1", 110 pounds, and was possessing superhuman strength all while
LSD.
screaming at the top of her lungs. The scariest part is when the RA came over to pray over the situation, as he's a devoted Christian, and she started screaming, "F God, F Jesus, the devil is coming for you all." At this point, my heart was sinking in pure fear of the situation, as was everyone else who was present. The emergency responders said they had never seen anything like this, even if she was possibly drugged at the party. I was able to capture a roughly 20-second video of her screaming in the dorms. You can't really see her as the paramedics are in the way, but if you listen closely towards the end of the video, you can hear her scream, "They're coming for you all, they're coming for you next." Last I heard, she woke up with no memory of the situation, but is in a very dark place at the moment. This is the video that was captured.
Yeah, it sound like she was on type of LSD or something. Somebody gave
In my
her
small
something.
town, there's not much to
And she
do.
didn't know what
So my
angel
friends and I
dust
make
or
the best of
something.
it. And in the winter, we sometimes throw snowballs at cars. This was after we got done ice fishing one day. We went to my house and decided it would be fun to throw snowballs at cars for a while. Usually no one would get too angry as they were just snowballs, but one person got really mad at us. My friend Drake decided to throw a snowball at one more car and he told me to record. He hit right under the back passenger side. It sounded like a hard hit. We stayed there for a second, laughing, until he slowed down and eventually threw it in reverse.
Oh, they throwing it at passing cars.
Yeah.
You see a kid just standing there. Ooh, that had ice in it.
He's right there.
He put this shit in reverse. He driving around looking.
We ran and hid behind a car in a different parking lot, and he pulled in about 5 feet from us, but he didn't see
Ooh,
us.
I thought that was.
So we ran home,
Fuck.
and that's when I stopped recording. When we got home, we took off our jackets and sat down to watch the video I just took.
That's
But we were interrupted by this sound. I froze in my seat. Then again. I didn't think this guy would find us, but still I turned off the lights.
yeah. How do you
My dogs went
find
crazy.
you?
Drake and I are 14. We don't get scared that easily, but this was freaking us out.
Oh, you're
Hid in my
14.
bathroom in my room and turned off the light. We actually laughed, thinking he would leave in a couple minutes. Our friends thought we were joking.
Nah, he
so
was.
we took videos of
If
him
he was
still
that
pounding on the
pissed,
door.
that he ain't gonna. He's
Our
not gonna
friends
just
thought it was
leave.
funny and karma, but we didn't find it amusing anymore. We thought we were in danger because he wouldn't leave. So I called my mom, who was at the Walmart about 10 minutes away. She sounded more like she was angry at us for throwing snowballs at cars than concerned that someone was banging on the door. She said she would call one of the neighbors to come scare him off. Then she hung up. It felt like an eternity before he stopped banging on the front door. But only a couple minutes passed, and then the banging sounds came from a different door. Then it hit me that I didn't lock that door, and he could easily come in. Then I got a disturbing call from my mom, telling me one of the neighbors said she could see a deranged-looking man, possibly drugged out, looking through my room's window and the front door window.
You didn't.
We sat there for as long as we could and decided to make a plan to get the .410 shotgun in my mom's room, load it, and then make a break for it. But when we entered my mom's room to look for the gun, we saw his face at the window. His hairy, withered-looking face, and we screamed and ran. Drake had the idea to blast a police siren sound on my speaker in my room, so we ran to set the speaker up. While doing so, we heard the back door open, the one which was left unlocked.
You damn
Drake managed to get the
idiot.
siren sound effect to play
It's
on my
always
speaker.
somebody. Oh, I
That
forgot. I
apparently
forgot to
worked,
lock the
and we
door.
heard him leave through the same door he entered. Moments later, one of the neighbors, Paul, rang the doorbell. I let him inside, and he stayed with us and waited for the cops and my mom to get there. We explained everything. The cops and my mom all said we shouldn't have been throwing snowballs at cars like that,
Oh, yeah.
obviously, and that we got lucky that they showed up when they did. My advice is to never mess with people like we did. You never know who you're dealing with.
Plus, that snowball sounded like it had ice in it. Like the way that loud knock, it definitely sounded like it had ice in it. Why is it always in these stories somebody didn't lock a door? Oh, I didn't lock the door, or I didn't lock the window, or like what? Maybe it's just because of where, like, how I grew up and how I was raised. Like, you always lock your doors and windows, even before you go to sleep. Like, we would go around checking to make sure the doors and windows were locked. Like, you didn't just, oh, I left your door unlocked. Now, there were times where, like, I remember my dad left his keys in the door. But the thing is, we had a screen door, which was locked. Now, they could have probably tried to break the screen if they really wanted to. They had to break the glass. And then, because in the summer, we had just a screen up, it came with like a glass, so you can put it up in the winter. But if they wanted to cut through that, they would still had to, they cut through that and open the door, and they could have still came in, yeah. But that was like, that was dumb. Yes. But we, like I said, we checked to see if the doors were locked. So we checked. It's in, the door, top lock. Oh, wait a minute. No, I remember, I remember where we were living at when that happened. Because we had a deadbolt. You could only lock it from the inside. Plus, we had a chain lock on that door, too. So, no, they wouldn't be able to get in. They would have just had the key. And then we had a chain lock on the back door. The back door and the side door had a chain lock on that, because he would have had all his keys, so they could have checked the other doors as well. But we had the back door had also had a screen door where we locked from the inside. And that one we just always kept the glass on it. But that door was so flimsy, you could probably just break that open, like with a hammer. But of course, everybody won't hear it. But the side door didn't have a screen door, but it did have a chain lock on that one as well. But yeah, we would. It just this as always. We forgot. Oh, is a door open or a door unlocked? Window, I'll give you that. You know, some people forget to lock their windows or they just assume they're locked. But the door, I left the door unlocked. Like, come on. Like, really? Well, I don't know why I thought all these were gonna be like creature, like with weird creature videos, but that's not what that is. It's what was the name of this? Oh yes, scary stories with footage. So it's just scary stories with footage. I don't know why in my head it's like I'm thinking it's like found footage, but they're like creatures. I guess the first video kind of just put that in my head. But yeah, don't fuck with people like that. Don't like I've had kids do that when I've driven by, and you know they're gonna do it because they do that same shit like that. They stand there and they had a back to you because they gonna hit your car, so they don't want you to see the snowball, and they wait for you to get by and go and throw it, and they take off running. Seeing, because I never done that. My dad always just had the fear of God in me. Like I'm thinking somehow this is gonna come around, or I'm gonna get caught, and my dad gonna find out. And I was more afraid of hitting a car and actually damaging it. And then my dad was like, my mom like had to pay for it. So, but you know, when I was like, I lived in Mississippi. I moved to Mississippi when I was like 12, so didn't really have to worry about snow down there. But in Chicago, now you deal with that. Like we have snowball fights and stuff like that, but we never threw snowballs at cars because like just in case it like something like that where it had ice in it or something, and you end up hitting a window and breaking it, and then people are like, well, you gotta pay for this. You gotta pay for this window, you know. But cause somebody hit, I don't know, some kids hit a teacher's car. Cause we were playing like in a playground. Cause there was a playground in the school we went to, right behind where we lived, and it was like a neighborhood. It was the school, a big field, which we use like as a baseball field as well, and then a big old neighborhood on the other side of that. And teachers sometimes pull up, and they could open it. They had like a white fence that you could open up, and cars could park on the blacktop of like the playground, and because it was like a big flat blacktop, and then it was like sectioned off where it was like wood chips and stuff like that, and playground equipment, and somebody was parked in there. It was like I think it was like a 2-3 cars, something like that, and some kids. We just all happened to be just out there, and I was out there with some friends of mine, and there was some other kids, and we were kind of like keeping our distance. They were like we were playing with our friends, and they were playing with their friends, and we was like playing in the snow and stuff like that, and all of a sudden I heard like they were throwing snowballs. We were throwing snowballs. We kind of mixed up a little bit and started kind of playing with each other, our groups kind of mixed, started playing, but then we kind of went off and separated. All of a sudden I heard crack, like a crack. One of those kids, I saw the car, because the car was facing us. They took like a big piece of snow, and I'm assuming they took it over their head. We look, well, we went, it was like in the 5th grade, probably then. So like 10 years old, 11. Picked up a snowball and just threw it and hit the windshield. And it hit like the way it looked, where the crack was at. Well, like it dented in the windshield, or like around the bottom of the windshield, and it was like it felt like everything had stopped. Like it was just no noise. Everything was just. It felt like it was. And they started running, and I guess they all lived in that neighborhood because all the people who was with us lived in the apartments on the other side. So they took off running back into the neighborhood, and we ran. We were like looked at each other. It was like we're not gonna get blamed for this, and we ran back to the apartment complex. And somebody came back. All I heard, I could hear someone like, "Hey." I don't know who they was talking to. I don't think they was talking to us. Because when I heard it, we had already ran out the playground outside the chain link fence that separated the two properties. And we were like past the school. So I don't think they could have seen us. They probably saw them because they would have, so where they were running, they would have had to run out the playground, past the fence, down, they had to run down the street, and then you had to take you could take because you could take either a right or a left to try to so you wouldn't be seen, but they'd be more visible for longer than we would. And all I heard was "Hey." I mean, all they had to do was wait. I don't think that's it. Might have been a janitor because the janitors were parking there and they were cleaning. Um, all they had to do was just because all the kids went to that school because I was like the only school in that area that from kindergarten to fifth grade. So all they had to do was, unless they were like sixth graders and they went to a different school, but all they had to do was just wait and say and like who was out there and who broke it. But I mean, no one had to say anything unless you punish everybody. But I remember that shit, and like I was sitting there worried that it was gonna get blamed on us, or my dad was just gonna think I was lying, or something, just beat my ass anyway, which has happened before, where I tell him the truth and my dad beat my ass anyway because he just assumed I was lying. But yeah. Anyway, hope y'all enjoyed my reaction one. If you did, make sure you hit that thumbs up button down below. Make sure to subscribe and you're here. Hit that bell. You'll want to be notified when I upload new videos. Comment down below. Share this video. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.